The expo when you felt like, okay, like I have this. Like, I have this down.
I really think that it was super helpful for us. I really do, man. I was telling my wife this today, that we saw this uptick since then, and we'll always try to blame it on a specific episode. Oh, it was because the tier list did really good and stuff. But it was like, man, right before that, we got our first ever like consistent viral videos from Instagram, our viral reels and stuff. And so when I saw that, I just started to realize like that was something that did something. And we knew when we set up, and I sat down and just started the first thing of like, we did the Victor Hugo interview, and it was just me and him talking. And so it wasn't that hard, right? It was like that was being presented to people, but they're not involved. When I sat down to do hot takes, and I was like, what if I do this thing and nobody comes up to this microphone, and I'm planning on being here for 90 minutes, and it's just me cold talking to the Allen brothers on mics? And I'm like, well, screw it. It really wouldn't matter. I'm good at that. And so there was a mom that obviously doesn't train because she wasn't paying attention to the tournament. She couldn't care less. And she was like, oh, somebody else is doing something. She looked so unentertained by our setup, by my vibe, by everything. I start presenting. And I mean, like I said, I'm letting it rip. I'm just, making jokes and doing whatever. We get Stebar up there. He starts, making sexist jokes. This mom is cracking up. And
now
she watched the whole thing. She stayed the whole time and was just like, okay, this is way more fun than what I'm watching right now. And that was when I was like, okay, if I caught you, you don't care about this. And if I got you, I'm probably going to be able to get some people.
Yeah. I'm not even kidding. The expo, I don't even think Clinton and them I don't think they realized actually the job they did. They did a really good job with that. It presented very well.
It's Granite City people just always getting murdered, so you just have to.
It's early.
But they take care of them, That was an ambulance following a police car. If you don't know your sirens. Continue.
Turning right after them. So no, but and being completely honest with you, I don't watch a lot of podcasts. You're the only podcast that I actually watch consistently, and I started watching you consistently at the expo.
Really?
Yeah. There was something about like when you were doing the hot takes thing, and I'm watching you guys over there because again, being a photographer, I'm kind of looking at ancillary things. I'm not really trying to watch the action per se. I'm actually looking for interesting things going on that will present well in photographs. So I'm watching you guys set up, and I'm watching the struggle with the setup. I'm watching you guys joke through it. I'm watching kind of all of these things happen in real time. But then I'm also coming back throughout the day, and I'm seeing the line get longer.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing the jokes get funnier. And I'm watching Jordan up there, and he's got his list out. And I'm going, man, these guys, like, there's some aura going on right here, right now. And it was such a good time that you couldn't kind of help but catch the energy of it. And that's exactly so. If you were not interested in jiu-jitsu, and let's not try to lie to ourselves that everybody's there is interested in what's going on the mat.
It was, and you know what the best part is? It was in no way our idea. We didn't have this grand thought of like, if we could get in at a jiu-jitsu tournament, especially with a lot of people, then we could ask crazy questions.
Right.
Corey from Fuji sent me a message and said, hey, this could be weird. I really enjoy your podcast. We're doing this expo. It's a big thing in the Midwest. I know you always are trying to promote Midwest stuff. You're really funny. What if you did hot takes at the episode or at the expo? And I'm like, I don't know. And so I asked the Allen brothers, and they were like, what does that even look like? And we just kept talking through it. And they were so much like, we don't know what it looks like, but we think you'll do a good job. So just do it. And we eventually, got to do it. And that's the the thing is like afterwards, it was so much work and it was so hard. It was like, should we ever do this again? This was brutal. But we just literally today, if you had watched my cool YouTube video that you were in, you would know.
I was on the road. I was on my way here.
That's, I guess, a good enough excuse. But you would know that we just said yes to being at the Fuji Worlds.
Let's go.
And so we'll be there both days. And we'll just be ripping with hot takes. And if we don't get canceled there, we'll be back at the expo next year.
You got 2.0 now.
Yeah.
Like all the wonderful content, none of the mistakes.
Well, no.
None of the, yeah, right.
Yeah, there'll be mistakes. That's what we're there for. But yeah, we'll just see what works. And
what was that tag? I think you should go with that. If we didn't get canceled before, like that should be in the tag of the title.
If we didn't get canceled before, just wait.
Let's frame this for what it is.
Yeah.
We're looking to start some fires.
It's interesting though. If somebody else says it, you don't get canceled for it, even if it's on your platform. And so
you get to be the arbiter of you're just the go-between. I didn't say it.
Holy smokes, I couldn't believe somebody would say that.
Right. You can feign, outrage or
like my feelings are hurt that he said that. And so I'm glad we're canceling this guy.
I'm actually kind of curious. And not to interview the podcaster, what is the most outrageous thing anybody has come on here and actually said?
There's not even a question. I can't even repeat it. We had to cut it. It's the only thing that we had to cut. Brian, we did a live podcast at the a live podcast at the Jiu Jitsu at the I Suck at Jiu Jitsu experience.
Yeah, experience.
And we let Jeff, you've met Jeff before,
yes,
right? We let Jeff have a microphone for the first time, and I said, Jeff, what's your hottest take? And he gave his hottest take.
And we had to cut it.
And we had to cut it, and we had to cut any reference to it because it was that hot. And it was funny, but it was definitely wrong. And so that was our hottest one specifically. When we went to the expo, we got such different ones. They were so much more interactive because they were people feeding off of each other, kind of going back and forth.
I tried to keep it pretty PG. I was like, I didn't know. I'm like, hot takes, yeah, right. Like, this has to go somewhere. He's got to put this out there. And so I tried to be fairly democratic with mine.
I don't think we cut anybody.
I have different ones now.
All right. You have hot takes right now?
I have hot takes.
Did you just want to come in and drop some hot takes on us? It feels like you just casually were pushing the conversation towards hot takes right?
Not purposely, but
I think lay it on me. What do you got?
I've got a couple that are, just a little bit more casual, and then a couple that it's like, what? Why are we still doing this?
Give me the hottest one. What are we here for?
Well,
you came prepared. You have a list.
Well, I want to make sure that I didn't forget at least one or two of them. All right.
Hit me with it. I'm excited.
I suck at jiu-jitsu. How do I suck less at jiu-jitsu?
I guess to suck less.
The diabolical leader of the Headlock
Squad. And I don't know if I want to upset. Like, okay, we love our parents. We love the parents at jiu-jitsu tournaments. I do. They pay the parents are actually really good to me. I couldn't do this without the parents because they pay my bills. They're the ones that buy a lot of pictures. However, if you are going to blast through the barriers like the Kool-Aid Man,
oh my gosh,
and completely ruin your child's future, you might as well open an OnlyFans and send the link to his friends for how badly this poor kid is going to suffer for that. Regardless, and I'm looking at this, and I'm half black. I know what it's like to have a mama. Like, I know there's only a couple reasons mama comes blasting through the barrier like that. And it's because somebody hurt her baby.
Yeah.
Or somebody didn't respect her baby. Like, and I don't know which one she was thinking when she through that barrier. But none of them, and we sat and tried to come up with like, what was she thinking? What could have possibly gone on that mat that she thought she needed to do that? And I just if you're a parent and you love your child, do yourself a favor and let the coaches deal with the injustice, because I'm kind of coming for them too. Some of the coaches on the other side of the barriers, I've seen, coaches push a kid out of the way so they could yell at the ref, and the kid's just trying to shake their hand, and the coaches and I stop, just stop. What did Michael Jordan say? Stop.
Yeah.
So that's the first one.
And okay, let me raise you a hot take then off that. My theory is that the parent or the coach both do it for the same reason, and it is like main character syndrome. Yes. They really believe that their kid that they coach is going to be the next Gordon Ryan. And so you screwing them out of the white belt with 4 stripes that weigh 47 pounds at your local tournament has now ruined his trajectory to beat Gordon Ryan, and you, of course, to be John Danaher, right?
Right.
And so, and your parent to have a professional athlete,
it's over now.
Yes. And that to me is when you see actions that make no sense, it's because these people live in a world that is different from the world that you and I live in, where that is craziness. That you don't storm. If I had, as a jiu-jitsu black belt, when my son plays other sports and he has coaches, it's their job to coach him.
Exactly.
I don't know. Here's the thing. Could I pressure tap his coaches? Of course. Of course. And will they know that? Hopefully.
And will they know why?
Yeah.
Will my kid play in the future? Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. But
this isn't how we handle these things.
Yeah. All I can really teach him is like, hey, dude, I can tell you how to lose and get better at something. I can tell you how to be consistent at something. I can teach you these conceptual parts that will be helpful for this sport, but I don't know how to play baseball, dude. I don't know how to kick a soccer ball. I'm in it with you, right. I'll
support you.
Yeah.
I'll back you up.
But your coach is, who you're going to learn from.
Exactly. And he has the team for a reason.
Mm-hmm. So. And he has other people than just you, And that's the thing is like the parent thinks just to their coaches. So many coaches, like I said, when you said, parents of kids who do jiu-jitsu, and I'm like, no, I hate them because so many coaches have dealt with them negatively, have just so many negative experiences with them because they believe that their kid is going to be God's gift to jiu-jitsu. Yeah. And to make matters worse, they probably aren't going to be. There are so many more people doing jiu-jitsu just by the volume alone. It's like most likely it won't happen. And your kid kind of sucks, And so it's like just – am I the bad guy if I have to be the one to tell you this?
Well, and who does tell them that? Like, has anybody told them? And I'm sure that lady.
Yeah, that tournament series that kicked her out.
Well, I heard that she's banned 2 years. As a parent, that would break my heart. First of all, that now I can't go and support my child, and then second of all, imagine the kids at this next tournament. Hey, where's your mom at?
Yeah,
she can't.
Yeah,
come.
I'm telling you this: if I'm a kid that trash talks, I'm definitely bringing that up.
Exactly. And that's.
Yeah.
I remember what it was like.
Mommy's not here to protect you anymore.
No, I promise you. And the kid, and I see this a lot actually with the coaches and the parents that are making it difficult for their kid because, like you said, they think they're going to be the next Gordon Ryan, or they think you took an opportunity away from them because the advantage went a different way, or maybe you thought that the submission was held too long or something like that, and it's just so. Yeah, that was the. I had to get that one off my chest. Parents, just stop. Just please think. First of all, put yourself down there on the mat and think if you were down there right now, would you want anybody being louder in that room than the entirety of that arena?
Than your coach,
Than your
especially,
coach.
you know, like
all the cameras are on you. The cameramen are pointing, and I've gotten to the point where I've tried to actually point my camera at coaches that are over there going irate. So it's like I want you to see that the cameras are watching you. I've got photos of again, like I said, they're pushing the kids out of the way to yell at the referee, and then the kid who lost the match is behaving just like the coach.
Yeah.
I see this every tournament. They were fine until they turned around and saw their coach acting like that. Yep. Now they won't go and get their hand raised. Now they're sitting on the mat. You know, I 2 weeks ago I watched a kid flip the other kid off. Cussing at the referee. It
Bryce
comes from
does
the
that
top.
all the time, bro. Freaking Bryce is doing that all the time. No doubt. Yeah. No, he doesn't. I'm just joking.
No, never
joking.
Bryce. Never
Yeah.
Bryce.
But starting fights with people at tournaments, Bryce, I mean, am I right, Brian?
Hey,
how many tournaments do we go to and Bryce was flexing up on somebody, was like, yeah, Josh, we got to go fight this person now.
Who?
I'm like, I'm a lover, not a fighter, bro.
The last fight we almost got in was because of one of my matches, actually. So, yeah.
Was I there?
No.
And it was,
Bryce and I were there.
And
so
Bryce was there starting it, correct?
It wasn't almost a fight for real.
No, the guy was just being a douche.
You see what I'm saying?
Well, and funny story, true story. I thought Bryce was going to beat me up I'm like, no, serious. He was the very first person to ever hire me to take pictures of them in an IBJJF event.
Really?
And I fucked his pictures up.
No, how?
because it was my very first IBJJF event, and I was so nervous, and like my settings were all wrong, and I couldn't figure out how to fix them. So I'm just down there firing off photos, and yeah, they were bad.
Ooh.
They were bad, and it took me.
What tournament?
It was IB. It was
Indianapolis?
Pans. No,
Oh,
it was
Pans.
Pans, like
21.
2000. Yep.
21.
Yep.
Really? So did you have a good amount of matches on that one too?
I was a blue belt.
Yeah,
I don't
you were a
know.
blue belt?
I don't know. I think I've only made it 2 or 3 matches in all.
Okay.
I don't know if that was a good one.
Okay. But still, Dorian ruined it for you, huh?
Ruined his experience.
Yeah, and then Bryce
No,
was
dude.
trying to fight you.
Dorian's the goat.
I know,
knew
dude.
If he said there's something wrong, I knew. Yeah, it was whatever.
I legit felt so bad because again, once I noticed that I had my settings wrong, I corrected him. It's like, okay, every photo before this, he's gonna think like, okay, man, he did a good job on everybody but mine. And
Maybe it's just the model, you know? Maybe maybe it has nothing to do with the
I
photographer.
I feel like there
you
was
know?
an arm bar or something that would have made a great shot if it were in focus. And
Dang.
I had it all wrong. But that was my first IBJJF experience myself. I was learning.
So let me ask you this. So this is actually what I planned on starting with.
Okay.
I really planned on saying to Bryce and Brian, do you guys think that Dorian is the hottest BJJ photographer right now? He's everywhere. He's at every event. I mean, every single person that you see post, it's his logo in the bottom, right? What do you agree,
of
disagree?
course. Like I just said before this, Dorian is not just saying this goated photographer in Jiu Jitsu.
I wish that were true.
I feel like
Bryce has literally argued with people about it.
in the IBJJF just scene. I feel like Dorian is top tier. Doesn't get better than that.
I learned from some kings. I stand on some pretty strong shoulders.
And there are amazing people, but you are just killing it right now. Fire.
How many of the big tournaments were you at this year? It was
all
a lot.
of them. Yeah,
All of them.
All of them.
The only one I missed last year, I tore my meniscus last year. I had to miss Worlds in December, Nogi Worlds. But other than that, I go to all the majors. A lot of, especially since being where I'm at in Columbia, I-70 and 63 split the nation. So, I have pretty good access. I was in Chicago this past weekend. It was an amazing tournament. But getting to travel and do these photos, man, I do feel like it's been a good year.
Yeah.
It's been a really good year on top of some interesting things that have also happened. But, man, I'm thankful that I get to do this. Photography has taken me to some really, really cool places. And I've got to meet some really cool people. I get to come and do some really cool shows. Oh, before we forget, sir,
Tell me.
I'd like to start a new trend
Oh, no.
on the show. I don't know why this hasn't started happening yet, but do people actually come on the show and not bring you a gift? Is this a thing?
You know,
There has been a couple.
I mean, Rob has brought gifts, but we do Christmas episodes too.
Right, but that's
and then
the point of that.
Josh Severett, he brought a photo, 2 photos, and made me autograph one. And
I should have done that. I should have brought some. Well, I want to start a new tradition on the show. I think it's only fitting as you grow and become more popular that, you know, when I'm sharing my world with you and what I love, I bring a little bit of that to you. So I brought you something in the style of my own love language, and you'd think that because I brought you a gift that my love language is gift giving. It's not. It's actually Lego.
Oh,
So there's a reason why it's a Pokemon set. It's not as thoughtful as you might think. It's actually a little less racist than you might think. So I'm like, I want to bring Josh something cool. If you see my room, my house, I have probably $10,000 worth of Lego sets all over the place. A lot of them aren't even built yet. So I was like, man, I want to bring Josh a Lego set. Well, what do you bring? What kind of Lego set do you bring for a guy that's, you know, applicable, funny? And I'm scrolling through your posts, and I'm like, I got to be able to find something where I can tell what he likes. What theme is he into? What does he like? And I'm like, okay, I know what to get. I'm going to get him a Speed Champions car. I'll get him one of the No, that's not a Fast and Furious car. That's racist. Why am I going to get him something like... So I'm like, no, okay, cool. I'll get him a Pokemon set. I was like, wait, is that just as bad? Just assume that you're into Pokemon? Like,
but I am into Pokemon.
I scroll back far enough. I find a photo, and I remember this photo. You are dressed up as Pikachu. Like, am I imagining this?
No, is Charizard.
For Halloween. For Halloween. Me and Bryce did what was that? Like the top 13 scary stories?
13 horror stories for our Halloween special last year.
I was dressed up like Charizard. Where is that costume? That's got to be here still. That's what I need to get Matthew a Pikachu costume for Halloween this year.
Well, so I settled on, and then this little guy has his own little microphone, and I figured, you know.
I have a big head, and I kind of look like Jigglypuff, who's just all head.
For sure, Jigglypuff vibes.
Yeah, I really do. At least it wasn't Snorlax. You know what I mean? Like, at least he didn't hit me with the guy whose, you know, eyes are just like totally closed all the time, big fat, cat. That wouldn't be.
I tried to, as I became more thoughtful of what I was getting, I tried to stray more away from the stereotypes and more towards just trying to be thoughtful.
That's good. That's good.
So there we go. I think from now on, your future guests, and you guys are watching, you know, bring Josh a little something. He works hard. And
I like that. And the producers too, right? You think that they should bring gifts too?
Yeah, I can't forget the Allen Bros over here working really hard.
And no, you guys, seriously, this is very cool setup. Like what you guys have going on here, this is neat.
Yeah, dude, we're excited that you're here. So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
You kind of just hinted at your first IBJJF tournament that you shot. But what was actually the first tournament that you shot? What was the lead up to that? Why did you? Man. It's not like I've ever had somebody text me and say, "Hey, Josh," and I have really nice cameras, but no one's ever texted me and said, "Hey, Josh, could you shoot this jiu-jitsu tournament?" Yeah. Where did that come from?
So the very first Fuji were the first tournaments that I shot with. Dennis Williams. They, Clinton and all those guys, JW Sean, all those guys.
What
Fujis.
Time would this have been?
This would have been 8 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I'm not even kidding. The Fuji tournaments then, how I started in photography was I did marketing for years for car dealerships. I managed a restaurant. But I would go out and promote, companies. Like, so if I worked for a company, I would go out, promote the company, take photos, make everything look really cool. And I got into jiu-jitsu. That's a different story, but got into jiu-jitsu, was doing the marketing thing. Friend of mine started training, moved here. He came from Wolves Den, Aaron Clark. Shout out to Aaron Clark. moved to the area, started training, and he was a photographer, professional photographer. We linked up through the school that I was at the time, and he was just getting into trading out all of his new equipment, gave me his old equipment so I could start actually doing something besides my phone. I was doing a lot of Photoshop and stuff back then. I think I probably Photoshopped a couple of photos.
I remember.
Yeah, back in the day. That was how I started.
I think that's how we actually started talking.
Yep.
Is you found a YouTube how-to video on how to make the levitating person.
Yes,
and
I did it.
I had
You
that
had done
picture.
that same picture.
Yeah, and that was what it was, right? Well, it would have been 2016.
Yeah, the guy's
17, you know?
floating in the air.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And you were like, dude, I tried to do it.
Yours
what
looks so much better.
You asked me about one setting or something.
Yep.
Like, what was that on? Because I was doing the same thing of just learning Photoshop. Like,
Yep.
this would be fun.
Yep. And that's funny.
Yeah,
Wow.
so
Blast
funny.
from the past.
I did not realize that.
So yeah, it was, and again, I was a back end hack. I was not formally trained in anything that I knew how to do. I just would get in there, figure it out, watch tutorials. So I was doing that. Got given a camera. Was doing some local stuff, taking photos at the gym and people, and obviously Dennis and all them were getting the Fuji series going up. And there's 25, 50 people in these tournaments at the time. They were not big tournaments.
I remember, I was going to them and bringing 2 or 3 students there.
Yeah,
you know?
it was not glamorous or anything like that back at the time. I think my original fee for working a tournament that I was paid was $100 a tournament.
Oh, wow. For the full day.
For the full day.
How many hours do you think it was?
Man, well, you get there at 8:30. You shoot. Tournaments. Most of them start at 9:30. You shoot all day, and then you drive back home, and then you still got a couple days of editing. Well, back then, think about it. Back when you started doing jiu-jitsu, was it a few days later that you got it for your photos, or was it a month later?
It was, yeah.
And by the time you got them, you didn't give a shit anymore because other events. Well, like I really do think, and I'm not trying to take credit for things I didn't do, but I'm old enough in the game now, and I kind of came from a pre-media area or time in this. I took the photos. I was so excited. I went home, got everything edited in a few days, and they were able to post them like 2 or 3 days later. And like people like went nuts. Oh my God, the photos! And
they're here already.
They're here, and and they started. So I have a full-time job. I'm working at a car dealership. But I'm making excuses to not go to work on the weekends so I can go do these tournaments. And then, over time, the money got to be a little bit better.
But at first, it's almost like you're working for free. You're
it
working
was
for
free.
gas. You're working for gas money.
Yeah, it was gas money, if that. It was a good time. It was, it was my daughter was young and she was training and she was competing. So it was just a cool time to kind of be involved. And I never can do anything from the background. I always have to try to find a way to get like uniquely involved in whatever it is I'm doing. And that was my way in. So yeah, Dennis Williams called me and said, "Hey, will you take photos of this tournament? I'll give you $100."
That's awesome.
And that's
dude.
how it started.
That's awesome. Shout out, Dennis.
Yes,
That's really
yes.
cool, dude.
Yep.
Did you was IBJJF the tournament series you did after Fuji, or were you doing other ones?
IBJJF didn't come. I've only actually shot for 3. CompNet, I did the Gracie Barra series for a while. Their in-house tournaments that they do. Fuji's, I've never shot for ADCC. But then I started with IBJJF, and I just kind of stayed in that lane.
Yeah.
So I was really enjoying what I was doing and the people I was meeting, getting to come up through them the way that I did. I don't think many people get those opportunities to kind of get in. If you're, I'm old. I'm never going to be the world champion. So it's kind of hard to get into the jiu-jitsu world unless you have a niche, unless you have a way in. You either need to be a world champion, you need to be extremely liberal with your Instagram photos, or you have to be funny.
So you were thinking like, man, I'll post nudes
I
with this
was thinking,
Photoshop,
yes.
or
Well,
or I'll take pictures.
Exactly. The digital enhancement could go a long way on a caramel colored fella.
That makes sense. That makes sense. You're in a niche. Yeah, you're in a niche where you're like, I'm just not represented enough in this niche. That makes sense. I get the branding thing. That makes sense to me. So you tell me the lead up to the first IBJJF.
Yeah. That's where it shooting the Fujis, kind of refining the craft. at the same time, the Daisy Fresh boys were getting started. Like, so in parallel, even though I didn't necessarily
So meaning
know,
the first documentary is coming out?
Yeah.
Okay.
So no, I mean, like everything from kind of the gym being, from Heath finding the gym, this was all kind of happening in parallel, even though I hadn't met them yet.
Okay.
So, I'm starting in Fuji. They're starting over here in what they're doing in Illinois, but we have a common thing is that we need to work tournaments on the weekends in order to make money. So I'm starting to travel with these guys
That makes sense.
early on and meeting them while they're doing their individual thing in Mount Vernon. But we would meet and get to know each other on the weekends. Andrew, Jacob in the early days, Alita, they were
Everybody's reffing at these tournaments and then competing at the tournaments.
They're reffing and competing. They're white belts and blue belts. I think Andrew Wiltsey was a purple belt or something, a brown belt at the time.
That's crazy to think about for me. Just thinking back to that time, life happens so quickly.
Wow.
But I remember being at those little Fujis and it being like, dude, you had Andrew competing at purple belt, fighting sometimes a Master 1 guy and just absolutely murdering him. Just the most violent thing you've ever seen in your life.
With a stoic look on his face.
Scoring thousands of points on people and then submitting them with a second
With
left.
the second left.
Yeah, and then no one appreciated it. No one appreciated it enough. That was as somebody who people wrongfully think of as the best guy to ever come out of the Midwest in jiu-jitsu.
It's probably not close.
Bro.
Like,
That was the guy.
people don't know.
People don't know. Nobody understands. And it's sad and
Pure raw
but that dude
ability and talent, man.
just unbelievable.
And you didn't, and like you started to say, like you just didn't know back then what you were looking at.
No, I
man.
knew.
And there
I
was-
knew. I
well,
trained with him.
you probably did.
I
Yeah.
trained with him
you had
as a guy who was a belt level ahead of him and was one of
And
the
you
best
knew. You
guys
had
at
to
that
feel
belt
it.
level. And then I would roll with him and I would be like, there's something different going on. When I competed, we competed at black belt. The only time we competed against each other. And it was competing against him, the speed in which he was making decisions. It was ungodly.
the raw processing power was definitely unique in him.
And then obviously the cardio, physicality,
Yeah.
things, flexibility, all of those things hit. But
When I saw him to stand and like take your foot and slap your chest with it, like that type of stuff to me, I'm like,
and from that flexibility being so strong, you know, and not getting tired, and it's just like all of those things with the speed. It was the only time competing that I felt as though I just couldn't keep up with this guy, and it wasn't when I.
And you were young, and you're still in your prime.
I was new to black belt. I was very new to black belt. He definitely, even though
but
he
also
was newer,
fast, athletic.
yeah, even though he was newer, it was still like we were still both, very young black belts, and that was like getting to engage with him. It helped me so much as a competitor years later because I never felt the same. Not that I didn't feel amazing grapplers after that in competition, but for different
You
reasons.
knew there was a level.
Different strategies,
Yep.
there was different things. But with him, that was one of the few matches that I walked away going, oof, I don't know, man. I don't know about that one. I don't know what I could do on that one. And I just... I don't say that about people, like I really don't. I don't make that claim, and I've competed against so many good guys.
It's so subjective a lot of the times. It is hard to argue with. Say what you will about him and what happened and what became of him, but man, you cannot argue with just the pure raw skill that he possessed. And it's a shame. My uncle, God rest his soul, like always told me, this is why I am who I am today. He said the biggest tragedy in life is wasted talent. And you see it all the time. It's not just Andrew that happened to. You see it
With so many people.
so many people in so many different aspects of life. But when you get to, like you said, you got to be on the mat, compete with him to see that not blossom into to see its full potential. you feel that in a
I
way
know.
for you feel that more than you feel watching a baseball player that never realized his potential or something
Yeah,
like
dude.
that.
It actually makes me really sad.
Yeah. But
It's
no, that
something-
was where
yeah.
they were. And funny, quick little Wiltsy story, because he's so hard to read.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're doing these tournaments, and you know me, I'm as goofy as it comes. Like I'm just I'm goofy.
Yeah.
It's hard to take me seriously.
We get along because of that. You know?
I feel
Yes.
very much that
Uh-huh.
way. Yes. And so we're there, and I'm very, we'll call it liberal. I have no qualms about if you're an extremely good-looking guy. I was like, man, you're a good-looking dude. Like, you know, smash or pass. It's smash. Like, so we were talking. Me and what was her? Kylie. Kylie was at the gym at that time. I don't know. You remember?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. And we're talking
Like
about
a nurse or something? Yeah.
She was dating George Valadares.
I just
at the
remember her
time.
being when they were all
She was the
repping,
nurse.
she would be
Yeah,
the nurse
she was
at
the
those.
medic.
Mhm.
We were talking about Gordon Ryan, and he was doing the frost tip thing, I think, at that time. And she's like, yeah, he's so good looking. And I was like, yeah, he actually is really good. And this is however many years ago, when I'm still kind of learning who this guy is. It's like, oh man, he is really good looking. And Wiltsey's sitting at the table, and I didn't even think he was paying attention to the conversation. Yeah. And he turns and he looks up at me and goes, yeah, you think he's good looking, huh? And I'm like, I'm not actually gay. Does he? I don't know what to do here. Like I thought and from that moment on, I'm like, fuck, he doesn't like me. And that wasn't what he was saying at all.
No.
It was, and that was my introduction to him. And so that same, you had to get used to.
And
that
a lot of people wouldn't even understand the story. You know what I mean? Like the why that's funny. I totally get it. I've known him. I knew him for just coming up. We just interacted all the time, and I understood his sense of humor really well. And he was always like, "Oh, Josh gets I'll just let it rip, man."
Knowing now, it turned out he did like me. I was one of the few people he did like.
Yeah.
So but that was my introduction to him, and then the team, which was why you asked about IBJJF, how I got there. This is why and how is because I met those guys. So I'm coming up through the Humitas system at the time, but I'm doing well. I'm doing my thing. I'm helping to coach, and then I'm getting to meet Hoyler and spend time with him. But I'm also getting to know the Daisy Fresh guys, and we're all working together and traveling. But I'm getting to become friends with them, whereas I always struggled to find connections where I was. Yeah. It felt, the moment I would walk in a room with them, I felt, man, okay, here I'm at home now. Here's my tribe. Here's my friends. Here's my family. Here, I don't feel judged here. I don't feel put out here. I don't feel like I need to try to be a world champ here. I don't feel like any of this. I don't feel any pressure to be anything, as a matter of fact, here. So we're traveling. I do the, what do they call it when you go your pilgrimage? I went to Mount Vernon to the laundromat.
Yep. Yeah.
Got beat up. Got my face pushed through 2 inches of sweat. Did the whole, the army shower, because I did that in the military. So outside, there's no air. So did the whole thing. And I'm trying to like build the photography thing at the time. I'm taking pictures of them. I'm getting to travel with them. My Fuji photos are getting some traction. I still had not yet adopted the giraffe at that time. So I'm still just kind of going around shooting. I started doing that later on at the Fuji tournaments after I had booked some family shoots, and I got the giraffe for kids. It was to make kids look at the camera and smile. Started doing it at the Fuji events. Turns out adults look at the giraffe and the camera just as much as kids do. Working with the Daisy Fresh guys, got an opportunity to, they had broken into the top 10 or top 5 at that point in the world. They were really hammering it. And well, if you're top 5 in the world as a team, you get media coverage at IBJJF.
Oh, that's cool.
So Heath got me in through that, through John Medina, who's just an amazing dude, if you don't know him. And that's how it started. So Heath gets me my first pass, which happens to be a major. Most of the the guys have to start out shooting.
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard to get into a major.
Media pass, and there was a lot of gatekeeping back then. It wasn't necessarily like it is now, where all of us photographers kind of have a close knit group.
Yeah,
we're friends. We travel together. We stay together at tournaments and stuff. Back then, it was cutthroat. Like you were kind of vying for a spot, for a position on the mat. Like you would get bumped and pushed out of the way if you were next to another photographer, because why do you need to be having the same angle as I am on this photo? So. Yeah, Heath is the reason that I got in. Pans 2021. I think I made a post or something, like I'm getting to go. Bryce reaches out to me, which is another thing. I got to tell you, I appreciate you guys more than you know, because for years, I couldn't even get members of my own team to pay me to take their photos at tournaments. Like, they wouldn't even offer. Like, not that I would ever charge my teammates or anything, but just to offer, like, hey, man, can I hire you? No, you don't got to pay. You're my teammate.
Yeah.
Like so literally for you to like reach out and say, hey, I'll pay you to take my photos at the tournament. Like that's the catalyst for like believing in yourself. Like okay, I can do this. There's somebody out there that wants to pay for my services, that believes in what I'm doing, that likes what I'm doing. So there was a real disappointment when I wasn't able to deliver for you. And thankfully he's super nice guy, super understanding.
Yeah, and you're the man. And just the amount of free photos that I've received over the years was so like well worth just giving you whatever it was back then. And then also too, another reason why I think you're the best photographer in the IBJJF is because your personality and just like how nice and like.
I appreciate
that. I don't know. It's probably my first tournament ever. Like I don't know what the situation was at one point, but you probably gave me a big high five and like a little half hug, you know what I mean? So
that's why I do it.
Yeah. And so like, it's just so easy to be like, Dorian's the man. So
thank you very much.
Yeah. My wife couldn't care less about jiu-jitsu clout. And so as I gain more jiu-jitsu clout, it's sad because, I still have the same amount of clout in my home, but it's not sad in a sense that she will never be impressed by somebody because they're a world champion and I told her, oh, they're a world champion, or they're this or that, because she doesn't care. She cares about like if she meets the person and has a good interaction with them. And always her favorite jiu-jitsu person is Dorian. And she always will tell me that.
One of my all-time favorite photos I actually took of you guys doing hood rat things with your hood rat.
My hood rat wife.
Hood rat things with my hood rat wife.
I just want to do hood rat things with my hood rat wife.
That was one of my, and so photos like that are actually, I like those.
That was
photos.
The day that Wilty beat me down, but continue.
Was it? I knew I saw that match.
That was the day.
I knew I saw that match.
Yeah, you photographed it.
Yep, I sure did. I also photographed him beating Cody down by like 50 points, and then.
Why'd you have to do that to Cody?
Why
would you throw Cody under the bus? Cody's our friend, bro.
I love Cody. Cody is one of my best
shout
friends.
out Cody. Now I won't put your last name in it because Dorian just gave you a bad shout out.
No. Not a bad shout out, because. Again, even him in the moment of that tournament, I think even he got caught up in just being in the match, going, "Wow, this is amazing."
Yes,
as he's going through.
Holy smokes! Yeah, so I wouldn't have felt it. Be amazing. That felt rough. I liked going out quickly to Andrew. That was a much more noble way. No offense, Cody, but I thought me getting submitted much quicker was a much more noble thing.
Well, let's get to the point. Are we flirting or fucking?
Exactly. Like I wasn't, I walk out, I rip his gi after he told me, this is my favorite gi. This is my lucky gi. And then it just went downhill from there, bro. I don't know. It wasn't good. It wasn't a good day. But I was hanging out with Dorian. He got a cool photo.
And again, those photos, and I remember that. I look back on that photo fondly because it was... Like, I could tell you guys enjoyed that photo after I took it. And so now that's what I look for. Those are the moments that I look for in tournaments that I try to find that I have the most. Because I think combat photographers, but especially jiu-jitsu photographers are some of the best storytellers out there right now. Because it is so hard to understand what's going on out there on those mats.
Dude, and if you try to take a picture at jiu-jitsu tournaments, even if you have a good phone or whatever, they're terrible if you don't know how to do it. Because I don't know how to do it, and I'm like, we're just going to stick with videoing this stuff because there is no way that the photographs, like the people are never, you don't see their faces. You don't see I'm like, I don't know who this is. I don't know what they're doing. Why is the lighting this way?
And it's hard. It's a hard thing to do because, like you said, phones, they do what they do. But yeah, so.
It's summertime. It's hot outside. It's also busy. Summertime's really busy time. And a lot of things get hard when you get busy. You get tired. You can't focus on things. But one thing that isn't hard is listening to the I Suck at Jiu Jitsu show. Another thing that isn't hard is helping us make a sacrifice to the algorithm gods, giving us a comment, giving us a like, giving us a 5-star review if you're listening on Spotify. But the algorithm gods, they don't love us on the I Suck at Jiu Jitsu show. I say a lot of things that are questionable. And yeah, that's part of it. But if you guys were to say cool things in the comments, nice things, even bad things, just anything, yeah, just tell me what you had for dinner. Tell me about your day. Hope you guys are doing good. Hope your training is going great. 5-star review. Let's get back to this episode.
When did you actually start jiu-jitsu?
Almost 10. I've been doing almost 10 years. So I didn't start till I was 36.
Yeah.
So I started old. Well, thank you. Well, technically I started because I appreciate you for saying that. But I watched UFC 1 live.
Yeah.
So Hoist Gracie was a hero, because I watched him. So I got into it. I did it in the Army. But it was just basically unarmed combatives in the Army, like a little bit of that Israeli combative sweeps, how to not basically be useless if you don't have a weapon. But I was good at it. And I actually won. We would have platoon and then company, grappling tournaments in the sand. Because I was stationed in Hawaii. But I did my basic training in South Carolina. But anyway, I was good. I just had a better understanding of leverage and things like that than even the big guys. So I'm taking, down big people and messing them up pretty bad. And so I'm winning. Then I would win the platoon, and then we would have a company tournament, and I'd do really well in that. And so anyway, fast forward a little bit, get my daughter into jiu-jitsu. I'm on the side, and I'm, coaching like I know something. And Sean's over there, and he basically says, look, shut up or put on a gi. Okay, I'll put on a gi, and I go out there, and then I'm thinking, man, I was really good when I was in the Army. I'm gonna surprise this purple belt. And so I do the white belt thing when you've never actually grappled before. No, I just went fucking. I tried to Hulk on him and do what
I do now, but yeah.
And he, I don't know, swept me obviously. Just straight to neon belly. And I mean the type of neon belly where he pushed my soul through the floor and pulled my hip and my shoulder up through the ceiling, and I had never experienced that before. And I didn't know what a tap was really. Because we didn't tap in the Army. You just kind of gave, I don't know, it was a lot less formal, And
Uncle,
plus,
stop,
right.
Help me.
And plus, I panicked. All of a sudden, you're not breathing anymore. And, he did that to me in the eyes, and he looks, he goes, "Are you going to slow down now?" And that was my introduction. And I'm so thankful for that introduction to jiu-jitsu in a way, because I didn't end up being that spazzy white belt. I knew that was my okay, don't ever do that again to anybody. You do not know shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, Bryce asked when I started jiu-jitsu. It was about 10 years ago.
Man.
I was old. I was at 36 when I started jiu-jitsu. And I thought, honestly, if you're old in jiu-jitsu, by the way, or if you think you're old in jiu-jitsu, you're not. Especially if you're still in your 30s. I thought I was old then. I thought, man, because I would look at you young guys, and I'm like, I remember the first time I was told about Josh McKinney. It was from Janice Heron. I got my blue belt from her husband, actually. Amazing spider guard player. Love him. Clay Heron. So, but I'm looking at Josh, and he's fast and like really talented and good looking and funny. And it's like, man,
keep going, my
I'm
friend.
old. So like,
when would this have been? When you're 10 years ago?
10 years ago. Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Yeah,
so I'm a purple belt
I'll
at
be
this time.
47 this December. Also, I was 36 when I started. So yeah, we're coming up on 10 years, like really this year, essentially. Because my daughter was like 7 and she's 18 now. So yeah, the math, yeah. So right in 10 years. So anyway, I learned in that moment, do not put in more effort on the mat than what you're actually capable of doing, because you will get punished. So 10 years later, I'm still getting punished.
Oh yeah. That's the game, right? And it's just like, it is the game of just outlasting people is most of it, and learning a little bit at a time. Everyone learns at a different pace, but it literally is just the game of, well, I'm just going to keep showing up. I'm just going to keep showing up.
And that's what I was kind of getting. Like, I really did think, like, man, I'm too old to do this. I'm not going to, like, I'm 36. I'm a white belt. Nobody wants to be a white belt when you're walking around amongst other people. It's just like, I can't wait till I'm a blue belt, because then I won't feel like I'm such a newbie. I can walk around with my head up, Nobody's going to try to take my girl, Like, I watch white belts walk around these tournaments now with their girl. I'm like, oh, my God, you just have no idea, man, like, what's coming for you.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah.
So,
keep her away from Brian Allen, Don't bring her back to the podcast booth, dude.
Man.
Seriously.
So, but I didn't. It turns out I had a lot of time, and the best jiu-jitsu was ahead of me. And now I feel like, okay, am I feeling the same thing now that I'm 46? I'm too old to do this. As I open a new school, like, oh God, do I only got a few years left of good jiu-jitsu in me before I got to stop inverting and stuff like that, which at 46 years old to be still inverting, I'm guessing is not all that common of a thing. You really do got to take care of yourself as you get older. So don't get into your 30s thinking that you can just go do this. You need to eat right. You need to take care of yourself. But there is hope if you're an older grappler. So don't think that that the journey is over if you're 40. I mean,
and you have other ways to express jiu-jitsu.
Yes.
Through your photography, right?
That's exactly right. That's what I decided to channel it into. And unfortunately, jiu-jitsu right now is a sport where you only have a few avenues if you want to make money. It is not lost on me as I travel around to these tournaments and I'm walking under the lights and I'm
and you're full-time.
And I'm doing this full-time, right.
How long have you done it full-time?
So 5 years. So
holy smokes.
So yeah, no. Quick ancillary story on that. The reason that I started doing this full time is I was at a Fuji in Lebanon, Missouri, and I was driving home, normal tournament, just like any other. Turn the corner, I'm coming down the street. There's a bunch of kids in the road. I'm getting ready to start cussing at them, get out of the road. Turns out I was the first person that pulled up on a hit and run accident. And there was a little girl laying in the road, Jaylee Luke, rest in peace. And I tried to help her, and you're watching them take their. Anyway, this young lady died right there. She would have been 18 now, something like that, 17, 18. But I drove that 2 hours home the rest of that night going, man, I am not spending one more miserable ass day doing what I don't want to do anymore. That was like a week later, I quit my 9-to-5 job and I went to photography full time. I was like, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it. I don't care. I'm going to go work tournaments. I'm going to do private photos. I'm going to do senior shots. I'm going to do all of it. And I was, so that was how I started doing that.
From in the last 5 years, tell me what a bad thing to go to, but tell me the lowest point for you when you were in the I'm all in on photography, like, hey, should I do this or should I go back to a 9-to-5? Was there that moment for you that you remember, just in the sense of like going all in, or have you just been like, no, this is definitely the right move?
Well, I mean, because again, it's not like this was something that happened when I was 20 and I hadn't already done 100 different things with my life. Like, I was already thought that I was kind of in the lane that I was going to be in. I stumbled into
But you already knew.
Well, I was, like I said, I was doing marketing and all these things, and I was getting good at making money in interesting areas in that way too, but I was also doing this jiu-jitsu thing at the time, and it's becoming really popular. And even 10 years ago, nobody knew what the hell jiu-jitsu was.
Yeah.
It was still so niche. And so when that accident happened, I was already thinking about quitting and like, okay, how can I go do this jiu-jitsu thing? How can I make money doing photography? Can I travel with these guys? It's so much fun. Like, this is what it felt like, you know, being, because I played sports my whole life. And, you know, once you get to this age, there's only a few avenues in which you can pursue sports in a way that can fulfill you other than a rec league on the weekend, something like that. So I'm finding jiu-jitsu, and I'm like, not only am I a little bit talented at this because I'm a good athlete even still at my age, but man, I'm one of the only people doing this, and I'm getting paid to do it. Everybody else has to come to this tournament. They're spending money. I'm there with these world champions and stuff. Like, you might have just won pans at purple belt, but you spent however much money to get there. I'm here with you at the same event having just as good a time, and I get to do this for a living without having to be a world champion. And that was when I figured out, wow, okay, I get to be involved in probably the coolest sport on earth, around some of the coolest people that you could ever be involved with, and I get to get paid to do it. I haven't looked back since then, since Heath got me in at that Pans. I had, and he told me, he got me down there on the floor, and his literal words to me were, I got this stupid fucking giraffe on my camera, and, you know, he's like, are you really going to put that on
and
your
he'll
camera?
tell you.
Oh,
you
dude,
know.
he is... He will tell you exactly. He's like, are you really going to put that on your camera? And I'm like, so...
He'll make fun of you directly to your face, but to all of his guys, you know?
And he's like, I got you down here. What you do with it after this is up to you. I got you the opportunity. I got you on the stage. And I knew I wasn't going to look back at that point. So it was when I made that decision to do it. And thankfully, I've been able to put myself in a position to be able to do it with some longevity. There's been a lot of ups and downs as far as getting, because with popularity in a sport, and I don't claim to be popular, I just claim to be out front or vocal, or I put myself out there.
Yeah, not popular, just very well known by everybody, especially everybody who's relevant.
That's right.
Everybody who's popular, you know?
Yeah. So
you just hang out with all the popular people and do all the popular things.
try. When you sneak, if you just, you know, insert yourself, you know, they don't know what to do. They, you know, it's like, oh, well, I guess, do we tell him to leave? You tell him to leave. Like, no, he's taking pictures. He's kind of good at it. All right, just let him stay. Like,
listen, bro, we just walked into my women's class when I went to show him the gym, and he needed no introduction. They knew who he was. There were 5 people in there, and they knew. It was like, oh, it's Dorian. You know, why are you wearing a Pedigo shirt? You know, that is the, tell me about the gym.
Man.
You won't tell me
my
about it.
God.
If you've been doing jiu-jitsu for a really long time and you still suck and you're frustrated by it, then you need to hear what we just did. Bryce, Brian, and I, the 3 of us run the I Suck at Jiu-Jitsu show together. We have been working really hard to create a platform for you guys to really consume jiu-jitsu on the mat. I'm always telling you guys about ideas and training concepts and methods and things like that, but you never get to see my on-the-mat explanation of jiu-jitsu, my on-the-mat perspective. And I know that is the most valuable thing that I have to offer, and I never really get to offer it to I Suck at Jiu-Jitsu show listeners unless you come to my gym in person or you come see me at a seminar in person. And so now you can basically not only train at my gym, but train how my coaches train, learn how my coaches learn. So how I started to do this is I started to put my curriculum on our school account. This is the curriculum that I used to run all 3 of our jiu-jitsu schools, all 3 of our Head Nod American jiu-jitsu schools. And I used to kind of steer the whole ship. Each month has its own topic. We post 3 or 4 videos on those topics that you could use as weekly plans for your own jiu-jitsu school, or just weekly plans for your own jiu-jitsu. And then at the end of that month, I've been sharing that. All my coaches have been sharing those ideas. We get to interact with all kinds of students, see what they grasp, and then do one more episode at the end of the month where we put everything together and say, well, this is how we wish it could have been taught. One kind of post-mortem episode. And we do that every single month. It's interactive for you. And if you're a jiu-jitsu coach, it costs about the price of one jiu-jitsu student. student. And so you can basically go, you know what? Jiu-Jitsu curriculum is really hard. It's a problem I haven't been able to solve. Why not let one of the most respected coaches in the Jiu-Jitsu community, Josh McKinney, do it for me? And the only way to do that is to go to our school account. That is school.com/headnod. I almost mixed up the link. You guys would have been at the wrong place. School.com/headnod. Your first 7 days are free. I would love for you to check it out. So we're at the CXBJJ.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you are, what month would that have been? That was just a couple months ago.
March.
March. That
Yeah.
sounds right. Okay.
Same month as Pans.
Yeah. And so I was doing commentary on it, and I see you before. You've got a Gracie Baja shirt on,
I know.
or jacket on.
Yep.
And
wild.
I'll just ask people stuff. People just are cool to telling me stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey,
What the hell happened?
are you cold? Did you borrow somebody's shirt? Or like, why do you have that jacket on? And then you were like, well, it's hiding this. And then you open it up and you had a Daisy Fresh shirt on. I was like, oh my gosh, there's so many questions.
So
and then
many
you
layers to that
Then
onion.
you looked at me and you go, I'm not going to tell you anything until I'm on the podcast. See you later, Josh. And
right.
I've seen you 10 times
And I haven't
since
said
then,
a word.
and
It's been
I
the same
don't
thing every
know
time.
anything. So tell me a story. Tell me.
Wow. Yeah. So, man. Okay. For anybody that is interested, and again, for what it is, there's, even if you don't know who it is, jiu-jitsu, gossip. It's like when it starts to drip at the corner of your mouth, like it's tasty. Like you want to know what happened. Why would you leave a big team where you've been for 10 years, not only to go open your own school, but like this brief intermission, you like went and trained with the other side, like Gracie Park. Like, how do you go from Humaita to Barra to Pedigo? Man, well,
We have a word for it in jiu-jitsu, but continue.
Yeah, last episode there was something.
Call it crunch. Yeah.
So, but
Not
no.
me, but I mean, I would call you that, but not to your face.
No,
But
it's a
continue.
lot. It's a lot less sinister than you might think. So, I was with Gracie Humaita for 10 years in that system. Actually, started out with Heron BJJ, which is a young couple, Janice and Clay, got their black belts under Sean, directly under Hoyler. With them for a lot of years. Came up, taught with Sean, learned everything that I knew about how to coach, how to, do things within the school. I learned in the Gracie system. But as time goes on and a lot of things happen, relationships break down for one reason or another. Sometimes you put somebody in a position where they're forced to make a decision for what's best for them and their business. You're forced to make a decision for what's best for you and the direction you want to go. When those things don't align, you move on. Well, in our town, you've got, 3 schools. You've got Humaita, which is the big dog in town. You've got Barrow, which is smaller, but, Gracie Barrow is Gracie Barrow. They're everywhere. Then there's a smaller Cavallo, Lennon Brothers, Jiu-Jitsu there. So when I left Humaita, the options are limited. Like, when you're in a enclosed town like Columbia, and do I drive an hour to go train jiu-jitsu somewhere? Or
Enclosed, but also big.
it's huge. It's
very
100 and
populated.
some odd thousand
Yeah.
people. It's a college town. It's where Mizzou is. So I mean, no, it's massive. But as far as the jiu-jitsu world goes, in any town, it might as well be high school.
Yeah.
For what the jiu-jitsu world is. You can't go anywhere without somebody knowing your business or at least being aware of your business.
Of course.
And again, with being outspoken and being as out there as I am in the community, with that comes, either scrutiny or people that don't like you for whatever reason, politics, religion, a lot of those things you talked about in your last episode, will oftentimes come into play. And you can't always leave a place on the best terms as much as you'd like to. We try to do the best we can. So when I left, I knew
Sometimes it's just time.
sometimes it's just time.
Meaning for both people, it's just like, oh, it's time to, we've had this. Jiu-jitsu's weird, bro. You have business. You have friendship. You have actually jiu-jitsu. You have the hierarchy of that. You have competition all mixed together in your best friend groups. And it's like, it's very hard
and
to...
the ages go from, you've got 11-year-olds that know your personal business and a 70-year-old. And they're all in the same conversation about your business. And it's very, very confusing.
Yes, it is. And so as I've been in this for so long, I just kind of think I understand that sometimes things just end. And then other stuff happens. And when you try to do the best that you can by other people, a lot of times good opportunities will happen. Of course.
So I left Humaita as much as I didn't want to. It is what it is. I had option to either go train at Gracie Barra or try to go train at Cavallo. The wonderful people at Barra in Colombia, Fabio Lima and his wife, Leis, man, the most amazing people you could ever meet. And it was,
I've had interactions with Fabio, and he is a very, very nice guy. And let me just shout out Baja, Colombia one time, because I told you off camera that I recently...
This is interesting.
I have a
Fabio, you're going to get a kick out of this.
I'm not a personal trainer, okay? I used to be a personal trainer. My wife is a personal trainer. She has this injury. I've had to replace her at her job. It's a long story. But one of her clients, once a week, or every other week or something, he lives out in Colombia and he trains at Baja. And I just trash talk anybody that does jiu-jitsu. But it seems as though he doesn't get my humor.
Your particular style.
It seems as though he's like coming back to me and he's telling somebody that I'm saying stuff. I'm like, whoa.
He hasn't figured you out yet.
My brother, that was a joke. Chill. These are good people, And so... Yeah, shout out to Gracie Baja, Colombia. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So I reach out, and I've known, so interestingly enough, I met Fabio when he first moved to Colombia. I took his family photos. So I am not in a position in what I do in the jiu-jitsu community to kind of be that discriminatory guy. Mm-hmm. Like, I cannot say, I don't like Barra because I'm at Barra.
It's Baja. But my client, my 13-year-old client, corrected me and said Barra. And I was like, my brother, don't start with me right now.
Don't feel bad. I don't know, and I've been training there.
Yeah.
So I take their family photos. I get to know them very well over the years. And like I said, I'm not in a position to kind of really be where I don't want to, because everybody... I'm all inclusive in jiu-jitsu, which I think maybe is kind of part of what the problem ultimately became when you're forced to be in one lane. So I stayed close with them throughout the years. When I left Humaita, I called Fabio and said, hey, I'm leaving. They were so excited to be able to have an opportunity to get to train with me and have me over there with the kids and stuff like that. I was nervous about doing that because of kind of the tension and because of, just how things go. Like, when you go teach at another school, especially, they can kind of be even looked at, I guess, a little bit worse than even going and training at another school. And I was definitely, not encouraged to take my talents to South Beach. I was not, it very much got the impression that I was like, hey, I would rather you not, but, I got to go train. I was teaching private lessons at Humaita. I had a couple of students that paid me very well to teach them because I was certified with Hoyler Gracie and a couple different things. So I got an opportunity to utilize that, and I'm really thankful for that. And it, fortunately for me, maybe unfortunately for them, led to this opportunity that I have now. But because when I left the school, the student that I had been teaching privates with, I had to call him and say, hey, I'm no longer there. I don't have mats to teach you jiu-jitsu on at the moment. I'm probably going to go train across town. Maybe in the future I'll open up my own thing. What jiu-jitsu guy doesn't say that when they leave a gym? Like, I'm going to open up my own, narrow pathway in the back of somebody's
of course.
establishment, and I'll teach jujitsu. He's like, all right, man, no problem. Well, the next day I get a call from them, and they're like, hey, how would you feel about opening up a gym sooner than later? Yeah, I mean, okay. And this is, a week after I'd been.
And this person runs businesses that aren't martial arts.
Right,
schools, correct?
nothing to do with martial arts. He's white belt, no strap.
Okay.
Brand new to jiu-jitsu. Loves your show now, by the way. I've got him hooked on the show.
Right. I like him already.
Yeah. So, but his wife, not into jiu-jitsu. I was teaching his kids jiu-jitsu. But they're looking around. They're kind of doing the numbers, I think, and thought, why not see if we can open one of these? And I said, okay. And in my mind, immediately, I knew there's only one school, one person that I wanted to go to. As good as Heath has always been to me, as a guy, he's never told me no for anything that I've ever asked for. He's done me several favors. I think anybody that you'll talk to will probably say the same thing. Like, he's never told me no. So I drove up there one day, and it's so funny. CJ Murdoch, pull in the parking lot, and if you've ever been to Daisy Fresh, if you've ever trained with the Pedigo guys, like you pull up to the gym and they're hanging out outside. A couple of them are sleeping in their cars waiting for class. A couple of them are just getting off work. Some of them are already in their training, and it's 4 hours before class.
While some are sleeping next to them.
Some, it's an open atmosphere, and everybody is living their life, and they're doing and it's so. I pull in, and it's like I get out of the car, and CJ Murdoch is one of the first people to go past me. And I'm like, hey, what are you doing? He's like, hey, what's up, man? And he's like, what are you doing here? I was like, oh, I'm just coming because you're opening a school, aren't you? I'm like, no. Because I said, I'm here to see Heath. He goes, you're opening a school, aren't you? I was like, no. He goes, that's the only reason anybody comes here to see Heath.
Dude, CJ, I have so many. I wish I could just list them on the podcast, but I have so many funny interactions with him. He'll just drop dimes. On? No,
you need to have them
asked
on.
both of them to come on, and they've both said yes. But then one of them's always out of town, competing, teaching, competing, teaching, competing, and so it's like it is hard to get with them. And the same with Heath. I have had that same thing of like.
He's a hard man to lock down.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, I definitely will do it. And then, it's like, oh, I'm not the IBJJF where he's doing a cool guy talk at,
Teal or wherever they, some seminar in Budapest
Ireland or England or.
And it's amazing the places they go and the things they do. But anyway, CJ,
but to your note, also has just always been, we've never been on the same team. I've only ever competed with his guys, has only ever been giving and kind to me.
Yep. It can be hard to have an experience where you can't say that Heath wasn't always trying to do the best in the situation. Like, even if you don't like him, you're going to have a hard time saying something bad about him. Like, I challenge you.
I don't know. I've heard a lot of people say
that. That's what I've heard.
I don't know what you're talking about, bro. I know a lot of people.
You're going to have a hard time getting. You're going to have a hard time getting people to agree with you on it based on their personal experiences with the man.
Yeah, for me, like I said, I've had, only good. I met him when I was I think a one-stripe blue belt on my way on a plane to Pants, and he looked at me wearing his all red Pedigo suit.
Yep.
And I was like, is that a jiu-jitsu thing? And he goes, hey, man, do you do jiu-jitsu? Are you going to this tournament? And, of course, back then, it's 2011, you're going to have, if you interact with somebody
that did jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, outside of a gym, it was like, okay,
that's
we're
a
friends
magical
now,
moment.
right?
We're friends. Yeah.
And so, I would train with his guys. Like I was training before it was ever a laundromat with his guys, And so, like, getting to know him, and he just always... It was about just getting better and having the best guys. We're gonna beat the Brazilians, bro.
That was what
we're
it was
gonna
all,
make
the
the
revolution.
Midwest. We're gonna make the Midwest great. And that was the thing when I watched the documentary that I always would tell people was like, that was so authentic. He said that same thing to me at the airport in 2011, that people from the West Coast aren't tough because they don't deal with the winter, and that's why we're gonna beat them. And I'm like.
And you're looking
sure,
at it,
bro.
Here's another
I'm
guy.
like, let's do it. Let's do it. I'm in. I mean, I don't, I need anything to believe in. I'll do whatever to try to win. And I won Pans that year. And so on our way back, he was, again, we're just talking, for the whole hour that we're at the airport. And it was just such a cool interaction to then see, where he went and
where
how
they went after that.
just how much success there has been
and the
for that group.
inspiring, I think one of the biggest things for me in life is I always want to be inspired. Like whether it's at work, relationship, whatever I'm doing, I want to be inspired. And when you watch that story and when you kind of look at what these guys have done, and what I'm excited for Heath, they just announced him as a speaker at Jiu Jitsu Con. So he's going to tell the story, up on the stage, which I think is just so cool. So I think more people just need to hear that story. But nothing has really changed. The laundromat's gone now. They're in a different building. But you go there and the energy is the same. And I showed up that day, driving the 3 hours to get there. I'm thinking, man, I'm going to have this big conversation with Heath. I'm going to justify why I need to have this school. And he's going to believe in me. And I'm, this and that. And again, you have conversations with Heath, but they're parsed out over the class or over, a few minutes at the tournament. So I break it in my Heath. Here's what happened. I want to open up a school. What do I got to do to open up a school? And it was almost like, well, what do you mean? What do you got to do to open up a school? Like, you just need to be part of the team. Like, no, what do I got to do for you? Like, what does Heath need? What do I got to give Heath? You just need to be a part of the school, man. Like, and it's almost in a way what he's telling me is you just need to believe in what's going on here. You need to be invested in what's going on. You need to want to be a part of the revolution, and you want to, or you need to go about it in a way that this is going on the wall. And he sat down, summarized it, and I'm telling him the story, my sob story about leaving the gym and all this shit. And he's, looks at me, he goes, dude, it's just fucking jujitsu. Just jujitsu. And the simplicity of the statement in that moment while I'm asking for a school and what am I going to do? And oh my God, and this story, and what's this person going to think? And, who doesn't like me here? And why am I not? Dude, just jujitsu. And we went on bound with class. And here I am. And it rolled. This was not on my bingo card at the beginning of the year, but I knew if I was going to open up a school, if I was going to do it, I wanted to do it underneath a team that had the same goals as I did, had kind of the same idea about how you treat people, the same ideas about what it means to be a team. So difficult to compete individually on the mat. Baseball, you're out there on the field together. Football, you're on the field together. The only other sport I can equate it to is when I ran track in high school. You train as a team together, but when you go and compete, you compete in these individual events. Jiu-jitsu tournaments are like that, and if you get left alone or get left behind while you're on a team, but you still got to go out there and compete individually on the mat, man, team means everything. Team matters. Cody. Speaking of a shout out to Cody, like I think he brandishes that more than anybody because I know he had his, his kind of come to Jesus moment with a lot of things too. And like, man, team shit matters. Yeah. And if you don't feel like you're part of something, how could you possibly want to invest your life, your time into that? And then not only that, like believe in what those people are pushing back to you. So again, I knew from the moment that I got offered the opportunity to open a school, I wanted to open a Pedigo submission fighting school. And man, I'm blessed. I get an opportunity to do it. I don't have to do it the way a lot of people did. I'm sure you had your experience in opening a school. I think I reached out to you like, man, what advice can you give me? Because there's so much that goes into this. I mean, building inspectors and taxes and lights and structures and, I got lucky. I got to start out with somebody that wanted to come into this with me, and they said, you get to make it about the jiu-jitsu. It's like Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. Well, I look at some of my friends that are opening gyms currently, man, and they gotta paint the walls. They gotta, not that I'm not painting the walls, but
you have to take this small risk and then hope it pays off a little, and then years later, and do it as this back and forth thing. Yeah, listen. What you were talking about is just the exact same thing that thousands of purple belts and brown belts and even black belts are going through right now in their life. Literally, thousands. And when you look at it, it's like it is the cycle that is going to happen. There is just no way around it. Someday you will be the black belt, and you will have people that have trained with you for a long time for whatever reason. It will be time for you guys to separate.
Yep.
And it will be hard. And you'll send me a text message and you'll be like, dude, this is such a hard thing to deal with. And I'll be like, bro, welcome to the club. I've been dealing with this for 15 years. You know, I've been dealing with this for so long. It's part of it. And I think it's so easy that in all these things, it's like, oh, there has to be a good person and an evil person, or there has to be this moral thing in it. And I really love Heath's perspective of it is just jiu-jitsu, because to me, I think that is, you know, the business side of it is just business. The competition side of it is just competition. They are not more important than people, you know? And I think that, I think a lot of people are just, I've always said on the podcast, I've said for years that we are going to be at a point where jiu-jitsu is on every street corner. And I don't say that randomly. I notice that, hey, if you're a good coach, you get a lot of people good at jiu-jitsu. If somebody gets good at jiu-jitsu, it is a normal thought process for them to say, how could I make money doing jiu-jitsu? And it is a normal cycle for them to go, well, why not just go in and do a jiu-jitsu school? Yeah. And I also noticed that no coach was really solving that problem, because this is how it would go, is like, unless you moved away and started a school, it was kind of frowned upon.
Yeah,
because
the 30-mile rule, right?
Yeah, you're
or
too
30
close.
minute or 30 mile, one of the two.
And so you're too close. But the problem isn't, like, I also would go to, you know, California in 2012 and go, I'm seeing jiu-jitsu schools as we drive past. And this isn't how it is in the Midwest. Now it's starting to happen in the Midwest. We're a bit behind, but you also can see, if you ask somebody in California where they train, they will name the most niche in somebody's garage place. And I'll be like, whoa, why don't you train at any of the 10 gyms that have tons of world champions?
No.
And they'll be like, oh, you know, I just have drama with all those people. I just train with me and these 7 other people. And it's like, okay, that is how it's going to be. There will be significantly more people doing jiu-jitsu, but that means there will be significantly more people teaching it and sharing it, you know? And so
we're in a bit of a boom right now.
We are, and it's only going to get bigger because more people are investing money. The PGF has 4 7-figure teams that they just invested for this season.
That's right.
Do you know when the last time? They
Yeah.
invested. What was it? Their claim was they were going to do 8 figures in the year. Okay. Do you know when the last time that type of money was invested in jiu-jitsu? Never.
Craig was one of the first ones to say, I'm going to take,
and that was recent,
this investor money,
you know, and it's like,
throw it in, caution to the wind. It's going directly into, and he kind of proved the model, I think, with, and then like they're realizing, man, there's money.
And you'll always have the argument of, oh, well, how will we get non-spectators to watch jiu-jitsu, or non-jiu-jitsu people to be spectators? It's like, you'll never get non-jiu-jitsu people to be spectators. But when the pool becomes really big, then you just go, how can we get every jiu-jitsu person who even kind of knows jiu-jitsu to watch this thing?
Yeah. Well, and you told, were we on here when you told the lady who wasn't paying any attention at the tournament, but she was watching you guys? Like that's actually how it shows like this, that the personalities that can draw somebody into actually being interested in the sport that may not even train it. I mean, people watch the Daisy Fresh series that wouldn't train jiu-jitsu, but it's like very unique in what the story is. So they're saying, oh man, this is cool. What is this? What the fuck is jiu-jitsu?
Yeah.
You know, and
people are aware of it.
And then that's why it's almost like the when you buy a car, now everybody in town you see has the same car. Like the moment you're turned, I'm guarantee you that lady has noticed jiu-jitsu in 100 more places in her life than she ever noticed it before. So.
And that is like, you start to, it's that same way, and it really is growing. but that means they're going to be growing pains, you know? And this happens. I tell jiu-jitsu school owners this when we talk, and they're like, I'm having all this drama. These things are happening. These things are happening. I'll be like, how many people do you have right now? And they'll be like, oh, I have like 120. I'm like, oh, that's you can no longer be everybody's
friend.
Yeah, everybody's friend. There's too much division. You now have to choose. You have to be the leader and choose, hey, who do we keep and who doesn't, right? And that becomes the job of the coach. And it's like, you know, it sucks. It's a sucky part. There are so many cool parts. You know, we could have just talked about all the cool places you've traveled because of photography, right?
Yeah. And the list would go on. The experiences
But it's just important for people to know, like, hey, both sides of this happens constantly. This is a thing in jiu-jitsu that everybody's dealing with. And for me, that's why I own multiple schools, is because my thought process was, if I could solve this, then I could be building people knowing that I could set them up and it would be a win-win for us one day, right? And there wouldn't be a worry about the you know, disconnection of us, you know, just being too close or being whatever, right? And so that was my thought process of like, man, somebody's got to solve this, because this is a problem that is going to damage relationships, and the community is just going to get bigger, and it's going to be more divided because of that. And
almost like coaching how to coach, or coaching how to own, or own a school. Yeah, you're right. There was a problem that nobody had set out to solve. Not even, you know,
because it's threatening, right? And that was what I didn't get from my coach. My coach, when I told Kyle, hey, I want to. So when I told Kyle, a gym wants to hire me as the full-time jiu-jitsu coach, should I do it? He goes, no. And he's like, I don't think you should. He's like, you're ready to be a coach, but he's like, you know, this gym is probably going to fail anyway. They just lost another jiu-jitsu coach. He's like, I don't think you should have your name attached. Yeah, I don't think you should have your name attached to it. And it was hard for me to understand at the time, but I always trusted him. And so then I moved on, and I was like, so should I start my own school? He's like, you should. Maybe. He's like, if you really think, and I'm young, I'm 21. And he's like, if you really know that that's what you want to do, you've been all in on jiu-jitsu every day for 7 years, competing all the time. He's like, if you're sure that that's the move for you, then you should do it. And then when we decided to, he was like, hey, we need to meet for breakfast so I can help you with any questions you may have. I need to set you up for this. I need to set you up for that. And it was just like, have you thought about this? Have you let me come into the gym and tell you where I think the mat should go?
Right.
And he charged me $0 for that.
Right.
You know? And it was just like, that was what I learned. And that is why so many people get jealous of him when they see that I have been his guy for 18 years.
There's something to be said about that.
And that
speaks volumes.
And to me, that is because that's what he taught me. And he really did always act the way that, you know him to be, and always treat me in a way of like, it wasn't about his gain. It wasn't about like, hey, one day you will be great and people will love me as a coach because of it. It was literally just about like, hey, I want what's best for you. And that was how it always felt, And that is why
intent matters.
Yeah, dude, it does. It does. And that's why I felt that need of like, dude, people are going to leave just out of necessity. They need to make money. And it's like, and then it may be negative and it may be a start of a conflict when I went and took a risk and did it myself at one point, and it's like, so yeah, I just think that it is, like I said, it's a cycle, and I don't think that there's much that we can actually do about the cycle itself. I think you can just respect it as a cycle and just say, hey, this is part of jiu-jitsu life.
You do it like Kyle. You almost have to support the cycle.
Yeah.
Like I imagine this is going to happen to me, and the cycle I imagine is going to start getting shorter. It took me 10 years to get to a point. I don't know 7 years there. Well, I'm sure within a year or two of me opening somebody in there is going to be going, I could do this better.
I could do this, yeah.
And this is a big town, you know, and I'll have to make a decision at some point as well. How am I going to handle this?
Yes.
How am I going to handle the students that they didn't bond with me when they got here? They bonded with him, for better or for worse, and they just want to go support their friend.
Yeah.
How do I treat that person now? I'm going through that now myself as I'm trying to, you know, interact with some of my old friends and teammates, and I can very much tell that there's a hesitation and things, and it breaks my heart, especially as an adult, as a grown man, thinking, man, this is a break time. Why are you acting weird? Like, you know, like we're not anywhere near the school, and so I really do look at guys like you, and I look at where you came from and how you did it, and go, okay, there is a template for this. There's a template to do this the right way, and there's a template to do this the confrontational way.
Yeah.
And so I think you can kind of tell which template I'd prefer to follow.
Of course.
And being given the opportunity to even do it, again, how could I not be thankful? How could I possibly enter this situation with animus towards anybody that either turned me loose before or doesn't like me in the future, because it all contributes to this situation. Like, I feel, man, this is weird. And tell me if you've ever experienced this. Hey, like, guys, feeling guilty about success because of past mistakes, like feeling like, man, do I deserve, are some of these people right? That, you know, why does he get to have this opportunity? Man, I don't know. I really don't. I can't give you an honest answer other than I can tell you one thing. I really fucking appreciate this opportunity. None of the nuances of what's happened to me are lost on me. You're never going to see me going, I could have done this without so-and-so. I could have done this on my own. I could have, absolutely not. Nor could I have done this without messing up so many times. And so now I got to take that and go, okay, now I'm the boss. Now I'm in charge. Now I got to get the 100 emails a week. Now I got to deal with the Google reviews. Now I have to deal with somebody wanting to leave, or somebody disagreeing with me, or somebody hurting another person in the gym, or assaulting somebody else in the gym, or harassing. All of these things that I used to just, you know, Homer Simpson back through the, you know, the shrubs on. Now it's my responsibility. So, but I wouldn't trade it.
Are you an imbecile? Don't worry. You can learn jiu-jitsu too. Maybe you aren't the smartest person in the world. Maybe you just realized there are too many moving parts in the jiu-jitsu space. I need some type of framework. I need something that will help me see the whole picture. Well, I have something really special for you guys. It's actually a free gift from our friends at BJJ Mental Models. They want to give you Rob Bernacki's Jiu-Jitsu for Imbeciles absolutely free. All you have to do is go to bjjmentalmodels.com/ISuck, and you will get that course completely free, and it will teach you how to look at jiu-jitsu as a whole. Let's get back to the episode. I was, yes, to your question of do you feel the guilt of past mistakes? And it's not even actually that. It's more of, do you feel, you and I talked about it before, it's like, I said it out loud at one point pretty early in your hair. I'm like, yeah, Dorian, a lot of people hate me. And you laughed as I know. Like, yeah, I know. And then you were kind of like, and I don't get why. And I'm like, yeah, none of my friends get why. But here is what sometimes I think is important to think about is like, hey, those people that hate me, maybe they're right. I don't know.
That's what
I don't know.
Exactly
I could
what
be.
I'm saying.
It's not. I am 100% living
Like,
through
there's
my
always
own.
a little bit of truth even in the joke.
Well,
kind of
yeah.
thing.
Well, for me, it's like I'm 100% living through my own perspective. Maybe I have just bamboozled people, and I really am this terrible person that you're making me out to be. And it's like enough people have said it about me, that I'm like, oh man, I don't know, maybe I am. But then it's also like, it's never really people I respect.
It's true.
Right, and it's like,
right.
it's always hurtful. And, it's never, I couldn't imagine, as somebody who gets about 17 views on a YouTube channel, I couldn't imagine when a celebrity claims that they read like comments from people. Like, I couldn't imagine it. And I'm like, dude, people who have obviously never trained jiu-jitsu before can say something and it can bother me.
Right.
Just because of the mood I'm in or whatever. But then there's also this thing of like, wait a second, that is not in my control at all. As a jiu-jitsu coach, really, I don't control where my students go, what they do, but I can control who walks in and out of the door at my gym or my gyms, And sometimes just knowing where you have power and where you don't and accepting that is the game. Is just saying, okay, most of the time, Heath is very big on this, is like, I don't have to deal with this. These guys that, have this disagreement, they can deal with it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, if the leader ever has to step in, then it's like, that's why they're there. Right?
That's right.
And it's just, there's this level of, as you grow in leadership, I think it's important to, as The Rock says, know your role and shut your mouth. And it's like, you
if
don't
anybody
have
needs to learn that lesson, it's me.
Well, and it's like,
that shut your mouth part.
You'll
I get
trust
myself
me,
in trouble.
You'll
Man,
learn.
I haven't even opened my gym yet, and Heath has already had to message me about something I said.
And it's like, you learn it as it goes. I have a friend that I won't name because he got better at this by deleting social media, but he was the king of being in social media arguments. And he just realized it wasn't good for him. And he also was running a business. And he was like, wait, I am taking at least, and we always make it like, oh, I'm taking 50% of people and ostracizing them.
Man, it's more
it
than
might
that.
be 70 or 80%.
It's more than that,
because
even if they agree with you.
Well, yeah, a big part of them might be like, oh, dude, that's just too far. I just don't feel like it. I agree with even the idea, but I don't agree with the intensity of it, And so,
or I just don't want to hear you talking about it.
Exactly.
And you've turned them off.
Exactly. And to me, as a jiu-jitsu coach, I'm a jiu-jitsu coach. I'm not a political guy. I'm not I don't lecture people on religion. I don't lecture people on anything except for sucking at jiu-jitsu. And if that is what they do, they get beat down. That's why they're there, that's to be
the
better.
Original sin.
Yes, exactly. And it's like, that is, my job. And then my job is to protect those people, meaning that sometimes there are forces from the outside that I go, hey, I just don't let them through the doors. And that is, I think, as a gym really grows, as you really have to deal with a lot of people, you're going to deal with just the wildest people in the world. And it's like, you've got to just know what that role of leadership is. And a lot of it is just letting a lot of stuff go, not saying a lot of things at times. And then when it is time to, they say speak softly and carry a big stick.
Speak softly. Yep.
And
speak from a position of being informed.
Mm-hmm, of course. And I think that is, any advice that you didn't ask for running your gyms, that is the piece of leadership that I can give you, is like, so a lot of it is just accepting stuff you can't control.
Well, you've got a solid set, because you can go. If you've got something because you've got your dad, another amazing black belt that's been around a long time, some people are on an island and they've got to make these, proverbial, metaphysical.
And that's got to be so hard.
Metaphorical island.
Yes.
And so they're with their own thoughts and they have conversations with themselves. They convince themselves how best to handle a situation, instead of going to somebody that they trust that can look at it objectively and say, dude, don't be an idiot. Don't say that. Don't do that. Don't. Or you're smiling because you.
When I have something crazy happening in my life, especially jiu-jitsu related, but no matter what it is, I'll call Kyle, my coach, you know, and I'll just tell him, like, Kyle, just deadpan. This is what happened. Like, this. Everybody hates me. This. And then I'll hear this. I'll hear a pause. And I'll go, I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because I'm trying not to laugh. And then he'll ask me a bunch of questions and we'll talk about it, you know? And usually by the laughter, I'm like, oh, it's not that big of a deal.
No, right,
you're right.
because he's musing. He's
Yeah,
like,
you're right, Kyle. Is like, no matter what, you know, is like the Allen brothers could hate me, but I'm still, you know, Kyle's way cooler than them, you know? And so it's like that, being willing to just, you know, have somebody that can be separate from the situation and say, no, dude.
Impartial.
Yeah, you're just in it right now, and you just need to know how to.
And knows you well enough to be able to tell you stop being an asshole. Like, stop being stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, kind of smack you in the back of the head and like, what? Really? Are you?
Yeah. And you have to respect when those people do that, and only put that trust in the right people.
That's the other thing. Putting a trust in the right people, because you can get really bad advice in the jiu-jitsu world. For anybody who's out there, kind of wondering what their next step in the jiu-jitsu process should be. Don't take the opinions of the people that are the loudest.
Yeah.
Like, take the opinion of the person that sitting over on the side and you never really hear much from.
Yeah.
That's the guy in the room, that old chiseled brown belt over there in the corner, has seen it all, knows exactly what you're talking about, and has watched you go through it the whole time. And he's just waiting for you to ask, because he's never going to tell you. He's going to wait for you to ask. And finally, and then when he tells you, it's going to be with such such a nonchalant, almost like, what, you didn't know? Mm-hmm. And those like, just trust me on that one. Like, don't seek out the loudest voices in the sport, because there's a lot of them.
There are, and it feels like that they're everybody because they're so loud, right? It feels like their opinion is everybody because it's so loud.
And it's not their fault to let them off the hook a little bit. It's almost unfortunate right now, because if you don't have a social media presence in the jiu-jitsu community, man, how are you going to make money? How are you going to get the sponsors? How are you going to, how are you going to get anybody to care? Even with the skill. No, and unfortunately, I hate to say this, and this is probably a whole other subject for a different podcast with probably a female host, but to compete as a female.
Great. Lay it on me.
Well, I'm going to give a quick shout out. Erin McKinney, if you're watching, she is amazing athlete. She's beautiful. She's young. She's talented. She keeps her content completely appropriate, completely wholesome, and her content does extremely well. You take a young lady from a smaller gym, a smaller area, a smaller town, not quite as talented, maybe just as attractive in their own right or something like that. Mm-hmm. What route do they have to get attention? What route do they have to get? And maybe the intent isn't to get attention based solely on the content you're posting, but you got to get here somewhere. Let me get the sponsorship, then I'll tone down the content. Let me get the sponsorship. Let me get the tournament win.
And the competition opportunity, right?
That's
a lot
exactly
of opportunities now in jiu-jitsu are given. It's not just tournaments, know? And so what are you going to do? Because if you have a promotion, you want the most eyes on you. And so you're going to pick the people that pick the most. Yes, you're going to take pictures of the people who get the most eyes.
It's not,
you know? And
it's a sad reality.
It is the world that we live in that is based on attention now. You know, it is based on, I mean, you look at it, how many people's everyday attention even 20 years ago was TV? right? Was like an actual sitcom at an actual time each night.
Yep.
And
I
now,
come from that.
right? Yeah. And it's like now everyone's attention is just wherever.
Mm-hmm.
And so in content creation, we're playing a game of attention. That's why podcasts have really interesting sponsorships, is because they keep people's attention for longer than, it's like, oh, you got 1 million views. Bro, it was for 5 seconds.
For
No
5
one
seconds.
remembers.
Right.
They went to the next one, right? But if somebody heard you for 90 minutes, you can propagandize people in the craziest
Long
ways.
form.
I would never do it.
Indoctrination is the only form of indoctrination.
Yeah, I would never do it. But if you were really skilled at it, you could do it. If you listen to Tony Robbins, you could do it. And so, you didn't.
Bro, that was nice.
You didn't expect me to be. I have a good
episode. What was the episode of like The Simpsons or something where he was like the car? He did the voice of the car. Am I make believing
is that true?
It's true. Like it was like a American Dad or Family Guy episode, and Tony Robbins actually does the voice of like the car, and he's like a cyborg. Anyway,
I don't mean to flex on you, but a year ago, I was within 15 feet or less of Tony Robbins.
He is a massive man.
I was part of a group hypnotism.
Oh God, I've been to one of those.
Holy smokes.
It's an experience. Did he walk on fire? Or I don't think they can do that anymore.
Nah, he didn't. He was pretty chill, and the security was tight. But he was still able to get everybody by the end of it. It's 3 hours long. They hit you with, when we get to the event, here's a bunch of speakers. They're like, hey, because of security, we will not tell you the time and session that Tony Robbins will be here. But just know when he is here, it will be at 61 degrees Fahrenheit in the room, because that's what Tony needs. He will have all of his security people, all of his music. So security is going to be different. You're going to be passing a different security test to get in. Once you are in the room, if you have to go out to the bathroom, that is fine. But you cannot come back in. It's 3 hours long. No bathroom breaks or you're gone. And literally nobody left. There are 11,000 people in this place. Everybody, I mean, not me, but everybody else, bawling their eyes. I was crying, but they got it on video too. They didn't put it on the teaser, but they do. I opened my eyes with tears in my eyes, and this dude had a camera on my face. I wish I could explain to you the whole 3 hour.
It's an experience.
The whole
man.
and it was so fun afterwards, because like we were in a group with multi-millionaires who were all crying.
Yeah, and whether you believe in that stuff or not, you can't help.
He's a hypnotist.
Once you're in the room, there's an energy.
And then,
like gospel at
bro,
church.
they're clapping and dancing before we even get started, because they've been to other ones, and he has trained them to be
very much a show.
Right?
Yeah.
And like he'll say, do you agree with that? Say aye. And everyone goes, aye. Everybody at the same time. And he just he does it and he hits his claps and he hits his things. Nobody noticed any of this stuff. When I'm bringing it up, I go, hey, you notice how when someone would start to clap in the room, he would stop talking, let everyone clap, and then on the TV screens, there would be like a swirly thing, and we would all be, and the lights would be flashing, and we would be listening to music that we all knew with the same added one beat. I was like, no one else was paying attention, and everybody was like, there were swirls on the screen, weren't there? And I'm like, oh my gosh.
This subliminal messaging
this is awesome.
Intense, man.
And then somehow the podcast got way better.
Oh, yes.
And so I don't know what was up with that. But it was just I had heard, going into it, that like Tony Robbins is really good at using hypnotism language. Mm-hmm. And there was just this podcast that were highlighting all the kinds of other people that do that.
There's a math to it, like his cadence, his tone.
And the words that they use, and everything. And they're like, that was what he originally came on as, was a hypnotist. And that was how he was solving people's life problems and stuff. And so, dude, so I was going into it going, I can't wait to experience it, because everyone I talk to claims it's a crazy thing. And so I don't care, like, it's like, we're just going to do the Tony Robbins drug one time. It couldn't hurt, you know? And so I'm like, I'm all in on it, but I really am curious. What does he do? It's not like he's just going to talk to us. I know he's got to do something different. So I'm paying attention to everything. And it was just so funny that everyone else was like, I think so many people were like internal of like, hey, I'm not supposed to like this, or I'm not so. Yeah. And for me, I was pretty much like, yep, dude, we're on the trip. I'm just going. Let's see let's see if I'm, quacking like a duck at the end of this.
Imagine what he could do, like as a jiu-jitsu instructor or something. Like you could raise an army,
bro.
Like
holy cow,
an army of pajama stranglers.
Yeah,
if you out there. Waiting for the swirl, like imagine he goes through this for 6 months, swirls popping up in all your feeds randomly. You don't know, the
dude, and it's always
then one day he sends the signal.
Yeah, he says he hits you with the Family Guy where it's like, wow, the German table or the Italian family at the table across from us is being really quiet, and that activates like the Russian soldiers because they assumed no one would ever say that,
Manchurian,
and so that was that could happen.
Is that what Danaher did?
That could be the secret is all hypnotism. I don't know how we got on Tony Robbins. Let me ask you this. Hit me with one more hot take.
Oh man.
Hit me with one more hot take.
Here's there's not a lot of restaurants on the way into
Granite City.
I noticed on the way. So I'm going to stop and get something to eat on the way in. I was telling Bryce this earlier. I was going to stop and get something to eat.
Not a lot of options.
And coming off the highway way out here, because you can't really tell. Like when you're in these small towns, is there going to be a gas station up there or not?
Yes.
You just don't know.
Yes. Is there going to be a gas station or am I going to get murdered?
It's a unique either or. But I've had one in my mind because I don't eat fast food a whole lot. But when I'm craving something, And I went to grab some fast food not too long ago, and I ordered some curly fries.
Okay.
So this is my hot take. This is the last fucking time you actually got a box of curly fries and not just curved fries. And I noticed this again, and why I bring this up now. I wasn't gonna bring up the curly fried versus curved fried debate.
The curly.
There's two curly fries in the thing, and the rest of them are just broken up curves. And I know this isn't a big deal to most, but it pisses me off because
it's the meat of them, bro. They have a much better texture. I get it, bro.
And again, I'm gonna grab something to eat on the way in. What's the only fast food place you guys have coming in? It's a Hardee's.
Okay.
So I'm like, I gotta mention this on the way in. So I just can't do it anymore.
Was the Hardee's
ruined my fast food experience?
Was the Hardee's and Granite not it for you?
Curved fries.
Yeah.
No curly fries. Curved
How was your
fries.
experience though? How was they didn't harass you? They didn't,
No, I went ahead and just kept on going. I went to Casey's and got some pizza.
Oh, okay. So. That was a good call because that Hardee's where it's at, like when you're pulling through the drive-through, you're in your vision, just like your whole entire eye line is a pay by the hour motel. And the Waffle House next door has the wild. All Waffle Houses have wild characters. No, it has the wildest characters.
This is where the stories come from. The Waffle House stories. I have one across the street from me. Nothing ever. I can see it. Nothing ever happens over there.
Yeah, and it's probably like you have drunk college kids that go there at night, right? And that's what happens.
They behave respectfully. They don't throw any chairs.
They tip. Yeah, and it's like you don't hear. Man, if you ever I will do Denny's in Pontoon Beach, which shares our zip code, but it's not the same thing. Granite City and Pontoon Beach. The Allen brothers are from Pontoon Beach.
Is it Kush?
Look at them. I mean, they look. Yeah, they're pretty soft. Yeah. They're pretty sheltered. But still.
You're the guys that Heath was talking about.
Yep. Yeah, okay. So this is the funniest thing that Heath thinks is the funniest thing is if I'm ever around and Heath and I are talking and somebody comes up, he'll go, hey, do you know Josh? And they'll go, oh, no, I don't know Josh. You're like, hi, it's nice to meet you. Or even if they say, yes, I do know Josh, he will say, Josh grew up in East St. Louis, so watch out for him. And I'll be like, I didn't grow up in East St. Louis, Heath. He'll be like, get a map. You put it looks
City,
you're right.
no,
well, no, I grew up in Madison, so it's
okay.
worse, and so it's much closer.
Yeah.
And then he'll be like, "You grew up in Venice." I'm like, "No, I didn't." And he will,
No,
and
they're serious about that
It's
area.
the total only joke that you could make to another Illinois person that they would get, and he thinks it's the absolute funniest joke.
When
in the world.
Illinois people bond over an area, they bond over an area. I got my no-gi coach, Shane. Shout out Shane. Man, when him and Pixley found out they were from the same area, Illinois, like I might as well not even been in the conversation anymore. Like it was like, and so it's like a thing. But it was an area that like if there were 10 people standing there, they were the only two who knew what the hell they were talking about. But they knew, and if you knew, it was a specific hotel. If you knew that hotel, you knew, and you were part of that group. So. Man. Oh, speaking of, I think I get to drop a little bit of breaking news for the gym.
Drop it.
With you. So, for the longest time, I had to keep I had to keep the fact that I was even opening it a secret. I was very lonely for like 2 months, by the way. I couldn't talk to nobody because I couldn't tell anybody what was going on.
I mean, you could have talked to me, but you chose not to.
I did.
But continue.
Yeah. But bringing you the scoop now. But so couldn't talk about the gym, couldn't talk about the location. But I'm finally able to let people know because again, as accomplished as I am in the jiu-jitsu world, I still have a lot to learn. I'm a purple belt, hopefully brown belt soon, but I'm a consistent student. I'm always I need to if I'm not learning, I get content, and then everything stops for me. So, but I'm very excited to really keep the pedigree intact. Gianfranco Ucra is from Peru, black belt under Heath Pedigo.
I'm pretty sure I know who that is.
I'm very excited. He is an excellent young man. So he's going to be coming up, being the lead head instructor for us.
All right.
So Jacob Brooks Spatchy has been my liaison and mentor through the entire process. I'm gonna stop touching that cord. So, but no, and so I'm thankful. We're just gonna leave that right there. I'm not gonna move very much. No, so I'm very thankful to have Gianfranco coming up, being our head coach. Spatch has been amazing in the background, helping me get everything going from understanding how to make a schedule, the pace, the setting for how we're gonna run the gym, the class setting. Being a mentor to Gianfranco as he makes the transition into getting to run his own gym now. So, yeah, very excited for that coming up. We're looking to open at the end of the month.
All right.
The website is actually live as well, which I didn't even realize, but psfcomo.com is the website. Also, and a lot of schools do this. Obviously, we'll have a kind of a founding members, first 50 people to basically just let us know they believe in what we're doing. We're going to take good care of you in the future moving forward. So, yeah, do a soft open the end of this month.
All right.
Looking to do the grand opening next month when all the guys get back from ADCC, and hopefully they have a successful trip out in Poland.
So that'll be like September 18th.
I think it's 12th and 13th in Poland. So hopefully in the week or so after that, have the grand opening, have the whole team out there.
All right.
We're really excited. We've got some cool partnerships coming up, some cool seminars already kind of lined up and in the works.
All right.
Got some cool experiences that I'm going to be able to offer some people, some unique training experiences in Colombia. Looking into expanding, putting in a fighter house there so we can have some people, because Gianfranco, where he's from in Peru, we'd like to bring some people in there, be able to train, and really just kind of be a hub for some people in the Midwest to come through as they make their pilgrimage, either on their way to Mount Vernon or on their way back through.
That's cool.
Very much a welcome and open atmosphere. Encourage people to come through, to train. And yeah, so again, I'm excited to kind of get to announce that on the show. I haven't been able to put that out there a whole lot, so.
Yeah, dude. And honestly, I've been so excited to get to hear about, the process of you starting your gym and just how it was going. And so it's been really fun to hear that. But on that note, do you have anything to say to finish? Any last closing thoughts for us? Any gyms for us? Any thoughts on how somebody should pose better for when they're beating somebody up so you could get a better photo?
On that note, I will say, only because, again, this is more important now than ever. Exposure, man, you want the photos, you want the content. You need that, and you guys understand just as much as anybody how hard it is to actually cultivate that content and the work that goes into creating that. So if you want good content, if you want to look your best, if you want to present yourself the best out there in the jiu-jitsu community, take care of your content creators. And I don't mean that like in a kind of a toss away, throw away manner. It's reach out to them, communicate with them. Offer them opportunities as well to showcase their work. Tag your photographers. Don't steal their work. Don't steal videos. The Allen brothers are going to spend a lot of time putting work into this. And for somebody to just take that work and, disseminate it on their own without crediting, what goes into it.
Our stuff is so niche and sick. You can just steal it and it'll just help
please,
me. Yeah,
please
do it. I don't care.
It any way you can.
Somebody stole my voice the other day and then made a clip of them with the microphone and rocked in their chair when my chair squeaked. People were tagging me, and it was one of the hot take calls.
Dude,
and you know what?
That's when you've made it.
Yeah, and you know what?
Are you kidding?
I thought he did it better. It was my voice and stuff, and it was my laugh, and he faked it, but I liked how he was, and he was also in a gi too, which I was. But I liked his video better.
I feel like that's when you've made, like, somebody took the time to AI you, and
yeah,
that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's the game. But anyway, continue.
But no, so again, take care of your content creators. Reach out to your photographers, communicate with them, make friends. We all know each other. We communicate. We have a group. We're going to talk about you. If you treat one of us bad, it's no longer that community where, you get to just say something, horrible, or treat somebody horrible, and then you could just move on to the next person. Just have fun. Have fun out there when you're making your content and you're trying to build your brand and do that. And that's what's going to attract us. Be out there. Be proud of what you're doing. Represent your team loudly and proudly. And we'll be right there to take your photo. So that's cool. The best advice that I can give you on that aspect is let me know you're going to be there and then get my attention. Mm-hmm. I'll take your picture. No doubt. And then you've got something to go and post and make content on. The worst thing that happens, I think, is when people are like, oh, I was there and I was going to come ask you, but you looked busy. And, man, I'm, sorry. Yeah. So, but no, on the way out, I just, again, want to say thank you to the people that made this possible for me, all the way from the opportunities that I had from Gracie Umaita, because I would not be where I'm at now without those guys. I'm sure you could say the same thing. We all started. We all have humble beginnings. We all have to start somewhere. But I'm so thankful to get to be in this community. I'm so thankful to get to have a small voice for whatever it is. If somebody looks at any part of this interview and goes, oh, okay, that was, I can relate to that, or that was funny, or I was wondering about that, then I kind of feel like it's, a success and worth it. And man, it's a little bit surreal for me, the whole process, the whole idea of being a gym owner, being a head coach, and just being responsible for a small part in the community, but also carrying on a lineage of something like Pedigo submission fighting. It's a big name to live up to. The people expect a certain amount of grit. They expect a certain amount of competitor to come out of that gym. But they also expect a certain atmosphere of people to come out of that gym. And that's an atmosphere of people that love jiu-jitsu, want to be in the jiu-jitsu community, and want other people to be involved in the jiu-jitsu community without restricting them based on personal feelings. So, live your truth, treat people the best that you can in this business or in this sport, and have fun. It's just jiu-jitsu, for God's sakes. It's just a sport. We are grown men and women getting to compete and play in a child's sport. It's a combat sport, but man, there's kids out there with their gis rolled up and their little yellow belts, man. Like, come on, don't take yourself so seriously.
And yeah, dude, and I completely agree with you. I think that it is just jiu-jitsu, but I do think it's so fun. You know, it's such a fun thing to get to do, to get to, you know, that's like, it's funny that we realized on this episode where we you know,
I'm gonna
where
muse
we
about
originally,
that on the way home.
where we originally met.
Crack me up.
And I remembered, honestly, it's funny because before that, the first real memory I had was you and I obviously being friends, because you know, I remember seeing you and you knowing my wife, and then you taking that picture of us. And that was, to me, that first memory that I was like, I know he's taken a ton of pictures before that of me, because that's how we knew each other so well. And then, you know, you run into that, but it was literally just a friendship thing. It was just, hey, you're doing something and it's interesting to me, and I, you know, let's talk about it. And that's how we've always been with stuff. And
you're again, it was somebody telling me, like, you got to follow this guy. He's funny. That was the first introduction that I got. Like, do you follow Josh McKinney? Like, no, I don't know. You got to follow him. He's funny.
Hey, we don't talk about the Instagram 10 years ago, bro. We don't talk about those things. Those were non-jiu-jitsu related. Those need to be in the past
those
forever.
Have been cold from the
those
from the
you
memories.
know, those didn't age well. Some of those, and so we don't talk about those anymore. But just that note is like, you've always treated me kindly, and that's why we have a friendship, you know. And so I appreciate you, appreciate your work, dude, and you're on fire right now.
Man, I appreciate you, dude. It's been a pleasure to sit and talk with you, man. Absolute pleasure.
Thank you for Jigglypuff.
Oh, you're welcome. And again, creating Lego addicts. Like, it's the best thing I've ever been addicted to.
Oh,
Man.